Alright, I'm JD87 and this is my tutorial on how to change the mass airflow sensor on a 1995 Ford Thunderbird over from a 1997 Ford Thunderbird. Alright, now what I've done here is I've already crimped the wires, as you can see, pulled the sheeting off of them, and my wife can't seem to keep a straight face on doing this, so I'm going to attempt to. Alright, so with a 95-95 interchange or 94-95 interchange, you won't need to cut the wires because the mass airflow plugs are the same. But as you can see here, the ones off the 97 are squared, whereas the ones on the 95 are rounded. Alrighty, let's get started here. All you need to do is make sure your air box is disconnected from the mass airflow sensor down. Gently pull it off, twist if you got to, put a little elbow grease into it. Make sure you disconnect your air temperature sensor. It's another important thing you don't need to freak, because if you yank that out, the whole transmission is kaput. Alright, so what we've got here is the old mass airflow sensor. And from what I can tell, it looks like it's had a little bit of welding here and there. It looks pretty bad. It looks really nasty on the inside. Make sure you're focusing on me. So we're going to toss this aside. Grab the 1997 one, which looks to be in pretty good condition. Just judging overall condition, it looks good. Alrighty, so what we need to do here is take the 1997 plug and adapt it to the 1995 chassis. Alrighty, you will need electrical tape with this, as well as a flathead screwdriver and a little bit of patience, and possibly a knife. And I would recommend taking your battery cable off for this. I haven't heard of anybody getting shocked, but there's always that freak chance that it might be you. Alrighty. But through all the tedious process while the wife giggles in the background. I'm sure this will make a YouTube hit, I'm telling you. Get all the wires crossed that you need crossed. The color coded, so they should all match up. Now, if you're inexperienced with splicing wires, I wouldn't recommend doing this. In fact, I would recommend staying as far away from this and letting your cousin try this, assuming he's mechanically inclined. Alright, now all I gotta do is find my electrical tape right here. Never leave home without it, folks. All the car stereos have hooked up and still got this itty bitty roll that somebody gave to me. Alrighty. Make sure your wires are all nice and tight. Make sure to wrap it very snugly so that there's no freak chance of it coming apart while you're driving down the road, say. I'm glad my wife seems to get such a kick out of this, because she is about to probably give birth to the baby now.
I'm sorry, I don't know why I find it so funny.
I'm just glad somebody finds me funny. You YouTubers out there, remember to stay posted, because this is a ongoing work in progress. This is a $650 car that runs, but not that great. So, one thing I forgot to do was to swap over this little piece. This little guy right here, hold that thought. Your air temperature sensor. Alright. Again, a lot of these plugs don't match up because I took the parts off of 97 without really going too in depth on if they would interchange. So, we need to cut this wire, which we shall do right now. Make sure you got a pair of wire cutters, because unless you're just really good with a knife and you don't really mind a couple trips to the emergency room, it's best to leave it to the tool that was designed to take care of this job. Alrighty. So we've got the old one here. Goodbye. What we need to do is cut a little bit of sheathing off of this wire, which shouldn't take no more than a few seconds. Bingo, there it is. Goodbye. Alrighty. Make sure you get the wires about even length, because it's just a pain in the butt to have to worry about if one's longer than the other and if it's going to work. I mean, generally speaking, it'll work, but it'll look ugly as hell. Alrighty, so now, what happened to the old one? Oh, there it is. Wait, where's the other one for it? Shit. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I seem to have lost my mind, along with a very important part I needed. So, if you'll excuse the wife, hell. Well, shit fire. Alright, never mind. Here it is. Voila. What we need to do is get everything prepped and ready to go on here. Shut snugly in there, you'll feel it click whenever it's in there all the way. There's a hood there. I see why she's laughing now. This is kind of entertaining for me too. Alright, pull that apart. Goodbye.
You are the weakest link.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye. But no, seriously. This is stuff you really shouldn't have to pay a mechanic to do if you're, you know, proficient enough with your tools. I mean, $80 an hour for them to sit on their ass and drink coffee. I mean, come on now. Any shade tree can do this in half the time and a lot less of the money. Because I know money is a hard commodity to come by now. Make sure you get these right. Unlike myself, who seems to be backballing it every time. Alright, match these up because the oxygen temperature sensors, they're both gray, but one is solid gray and one is gray with a red line through it. One gray with a red line through it is the hot wire. The other one would be the ground, if I'm not mistaken. If so, feel free to drop down there in the comments and correct me, and I'll go back and make another video, especially for you, and I'll mail it to you. Alrighty, make sure you get these things on here nice and snug. Nice and snug. There we go. There's one. And there's two. Since there are only two wires, this really isn't a brain buster for anybody who's not very proficient in this. So, if not, hey, God still loves you. That's what's important, right? Alrighty. Remember to coat these at least one good go around with the electrical tape. Because you don't want these coming loose, touching, and getting stuck in the middle of the wrong neighborhood. Trust me, I know. Alrighty. Sure they're nice and snug. All nice and on here. And I wouldn't recommend doing this unless you're absolutely as poor as me. And at which point, you kind of have to. So, what we're going to do now is install our new mass airflow sensor. Alrighty. So we're going to wiggle this around here. It's going to take a little bit of elbow grease and some curse words and all that kind of good jazz, but to get on here, it's on there. Alright, just make sure you get it in the three little prongs on the bottom. And if you're having stuttering, stalling, missing problems, this is probably going to be what the problem is. Our car is, it'll drop below 1,000 RPMs and it won't go any higher, it won't speed up, it'll almost sound like it's choking and bogging down. The most important thing is to make sure your mass airflow sensor is operational, because this is the thing that tells your computer how much oxygen to put in with the fuel to combine the spark, etc. combustion. So let's hook this up here. And hook this up. Alright, now the proof is in the pudding. Let me go crank it up and see if it works. After I remove the tools. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, move your tools, because one loose wrench in a fan blade can lead to a whole world of confusion. That one I don't know for first-hand experience, but I'm sure somebody does. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The proof is in the pudding.